All right. Now, we talked about the usage of the online Bible, and now we ought to talk a little bit about the grammar from the lexicons that it offers. The grammar is quite important. And so, referring to your handouts, this is a summary of the grammatical terms that you will likely encounter in using the online Bible. Now, again, if you start with the Hebrew, about halfway down the first page, there are three large categories of Hebrew verbs. These grammar terms only apply to the verbs, obviously, okay, the action verbs. In the Hebrew, the first category is a simple verb, or the simple stem, and the first is kal, which is the active, that is, he killed. That's an example, sample example. The other would be nifal, which is passive, that is, he was killed. Okay, so that's the difference. And if you look at, again, the online Bible, sometimes you'll see nifal. If you double-click on the number, the second set of numbers that follow the Strong's number. And you'll know that that's the passive. Okay, that's the passive construction. All right? And then there's the intensive and the causative, meaning that you are causing something to happen. For example, the he caused to kill, which is the hifil, and the hofal would be he was caused to kill, and so forth. So please refer to the printout here for the Hebrew. And if, for those of you more interested, you can go to Blue Letter Bible, the blueletterbible.com, and this section will be made available online, the Blue Letter Bible. But you have the printout for those here, so you don't, but in case you lose this, the resource is there. That's another very useful tool. Let's skip to the Greek grammar, because the grammar in the Greek is a little bit more complex, we could say. Now you can see that there are the three large categories of Greek verb action. Punctiliar, that is action that relates to a specific point in time. Okay? There is a time point. There is a time marker. That's what's called a punctiliar. Or linear action. That would be action that is in the progress of occurring. It's progressive. It's still occurring now. That's linear. Okay? And the other is perfected. And that, as you can see, is the action that is both punctiliar and linear, in that it refers to action relating to a point in time, yet has results that are in the progress of occurring. Okay? For example, Christ's crucifixion, in the sense, is perfected in this case because it's completed, and yet its effects go on forevermore. Okay? That would be one example. Now, let's talk about the tense. Before, you looked at a verse, and we saw the tense, didn't we? We did the online Bible for a verb. Let's all turn now to Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. And here in verse 15, God says the following, "For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy, on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion, on whom I will have compassion. In other words, God is telling us how, from His divine perspective, He saves those whom He will, and actually it also includes and implies the fact that He hates those whom He will. Right? It's always both ways. Now, let's look at the verb translated, I will have mercy. Okay? The Strong's number is 1653. If you're using the online Bible again, you would hit the S key with the text up, and it'll give you that Strong's number. If you're using the Strong's, what would you do? You would go to the word mercy probably in the main Strong's main concordance, find its usage as it occurs in Romans 9:15, find the Strong's number, go to the back, and so forth. If you're using the interlinear, it would be listed right above the word mercy, and so forth. All right? Now the word mercy, or the expression I will have mercy, is actually the translation of one Greek word. The one Greek word. And it's 1653. If you're using the online Bible, you'll note a second set of numbers that follow, right? That is 5692. Double-clicking on that will tell you that the tense of this verb of verb 1653 is future tense. And you all know what that means, right? What does that mean?
It will happen in the future.
Yes, it's an action that is to come in the future sometime. It says a time reference. Okay? So it's future. Now you'll also note the second characteristic of this word, of this verb, and that is the voice. Okay? And the voice is the active voice. Active voice. Now who can find the voice in your printout and tell us what the active voice is? I'm sorry? No. What's the definition of the active voice?
It occurs when the action of the verb is being performed by the subject?
When the subject is doing the action, it's in the active voice. Very important. Because you need to know who's doing what in the Bible. Okay? All right? Keep in mind now. Future, active voice. Future tense, active voice. If you still haven't found where it is, it's in the last page. The second to last page, I should say. And at the bottom, remember there's a blue bar. The active voice, right? Have you all found it? All right. The subject is doing the action. All right? And thirdly, I will have compassion. It has a mood rating, or mood notation, I should say. And it's in the indicative mood. It's in the indicative mood. What is the indicative mood? What does it connote?
Concerning time.
The indicative mood is a statement of fact. Okay? Or if you read it here, what the Blue Letter Bible may have said is a mood of assertion or presentation of certainty. Okay? The indicative mood is the only one to give designation concerning time. The majority of all verbs used in the New Testament occur in the indicative mood. Okay? It's a statement of fact. Okay? Now, and therefore, I will have compassion. I will have compassion. We have learned certain things about that phrase, didn't we? It's in the future tense. In other words, relating to when God saves someone. It's in the active voice, meaning, who is doing the action of having compassion?
Subject.
Who is the subject?
God.
God. Does that reinforce what we already know about salvation? Yeah. See why the grammar is helpful? God is saying, I will have compassion. Active voice. Me. I'm doing the action. Not you, man. Me. And the mood is indicative, meaning it's not potential, it's going to happen. Irresistible grace also is being taught from this verse, isn't it? When God says, I will have compassion on someone, guess what? It's going to happen. It's a statement of fact. It's a given. You see how the grammar really helps? It really colors in the verse, doesn't it? All right? And so let's just choose a few more verses and go through the same exercise in the Greek. The well-known verse, We can choose, or we can go with one that you would like to suggest, that you think you would like to study. The elect would not work here because it has to be a verb. Yeah.
Revelation 22:18.
Well, what's the word?
Add unto him. Play.
Okay. Let's see. Revelation 22:18. Apparently David is looking at the word add. Okay? Again, you bring up the passage with the online Bible. Second set of numbers is 5725. Is that correct? No, 5725 for the word add. Revelation 22:18. What number?
First ad, okay, the second ad is different.
Yeah. Now, if any man shall add, there it is. The tense is the present tense. Okay, if any man adds. Okay? Right now, if any man adds. The voice is what kind of voice? Who has the online Bible? Active voice. So it tells us what? Subject is doing the action. If any man, that is the subject, doing the action. Now the mood tells us a lot here. It's in the subjunctive mood. What is the subjunctive mood? Who has the handouts ready?
It has to do with probability or desirability.
Yes. It's potential action. Totally different than the indicative mood, which is a statement of fact. So subjunctive mood indicates something that is might be, something that might be. Now, does that make sense here in this context? And the answer is yes. If any man shall add, in the event any man adds. You see why the subjunctive mood would be? It can't be a statement of fact there. It has to be in the event. If potentially someone were to add to the words of the prophecy of this book, you see. That's why the subjunctive mood is used by God there. Okay? So you would go through this, and each word you study, really, ideally, you want to look at the grammar also, because God has made it so easy for non-Greek scholars to look at the grammar, as we're doing right now. You're doing Greek grammar right now, you see. Let's pick another verse, well known, just to make it more interesting. Any suggestions?
Well, pray without ceasing.
Uh-huh. That would be an interesting verse. Where is that? No. You have to know where your verses are if you're going to suggest them.
Pray 1163.
Philippians.
No. 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 1 Thessalonians 5. Yes, you were, of course. No, I might be wrong here, so let's see.